all, Anjali this side, and in this video we will be discussing question number 4 of 2017 outside Delhi. So as we've discussed question number 2 in the last video that had Java and HTML both, this is your question number 4 which has weightage of 15 marks and it is all Java related questions. So here your first part says that write the values of R and S after the execution of the following code. So you have given a code and you have to tell what will be the value of R and S after this. So let's start with the code line by line. The first line says that int p is equal to 11. That means p is a variable which becomes 11, and then q is a variable which becomes 21. Then we have declaration for R and S, so they're simply declared. After that, there is a statement R is equal to plus Q. Now this is pre-increment of Q and then the value is assigned to R. So pre-increment means first increase the value and then assign it. So here Q will become 22 first and then it will be assigned to R. So as a result of this statement, R will be 22 and Q will also become 22. Then the next statement is S is equal to P plus plus. Now this is post increment. That means first the value of P will be assigned to S and later on P will be increased by 1. So P is 11 right now, so we assign 11 to S and after that P becomes 12. So P increases after the assignment because it is post increment. Okay, so the next line after this is R plus plus. R plus plus means increase the value of R by 1. So the previous value in R was 22, thus R becomes 23 with this statement. So that's it. This was the last statement of the code. So as per this, the final answer is, we have to tell the value of R and S. So R is 23 and S is 11. So that's your answer, and this question was for 1 mark. Okay, so it's just based on increment thing. So you have to be very careful about only the thing that where your plus plus sign is either it's a pre-increment or a post-increment. Same way it could be decrement as well. Okay, B says what will be displayed in J text field 1 and text field 2 after the following code is executed. This question is for 2 marks. And the question says that we have n digits which is initially 0, n is 35, then while n is greater than 12, n digits is increased by 1 and n is equal to n minus 10. It's done till n is greater than 12. And in text field 1, they have set the value of n digits. In text field 2, they have set the value of n. Okay, let's start from the beginning if I have to show the working. So before I start with the working, the initial value of n digits is 0 and n is 35 because working is very important for your output questions. So whenever you attempt an output question in the exam, always explain the working, otherwise you won't get the complete marks for that. So working says that first we are checking n greater than 12, that is 35 greater than 12. True. It is true. Okay, it's true, so it goes inside the loop. Inside the loop, we have n digits is equal to n digits plus 1. The previous value of n digits is 0. Plus 1 will make it 1. So new value becomes 1. Then it is n is equal to n minus 10. N is 35. 35 minus 10 becomes 25. So the new value of n becomes 25. Now in the second iteration, it will again check if n greater than 12. Yes, 25 is greater than 12. Condition is true. Condition is true. And again, n digits is equal to n digits plus 1. But in the last iteration, n digits became 1. So 1 plus 1 will be 2. And then n is equal to n minus 10. But the new value of n is 25. So 25 minus 10 gives us 15. So now if we go to the while loop again, n greater than 12. Yes, 15 is greater than 12. Condition is true. and then your n digits is increased by 1 again. So 2 plus 1 becomes 3. And then we're going to decrease n by 10. So it will be n minus 10. N minus 10, right now n is 15. 15 minus 10 will be 5. Since 15 minus 10 is 5, and when the condition is checked again, so 5 greater than 12 becomes false. So loop worked for 3 times. So initially n greater than 12, that is 35 greater than 12, true. 0 plus 1 becomes 1, n becomes 25. Then it goes here again. 25 greater than 12 is true. 1 plus 1 becomes 2, and n becomes 15. It goes here again. 15 greater than 12 is true. Digits is increased by 1, so it becomes 3. 15 minus 10 becomes 5. 5 greater than 12 is false. So we come out of the loop. When we come out of the loop, in the first text field, it sets the value of n digits, which is 3. And in second text field, it sets the value of n, which is 5. Thus, your final output would be the content of J text field 1 is 3 and J text field 2 is 5. Okay. I hope you understood how this loop works. So basically you just have to execute the loop step by step and finally you will reach to the result. Now we have another question for the output only. Write the value of C after executing the following code. So here you have int P, int R is equal to 8, int odd number, int C is equal to 0. And then you have your loop. This is for loop, means you have to initialize, check the condition, execute the statements, and then come to the increment, again check the condition and just repeat. Okay, now to start with, I have R as 8 and I have C as 0. Now we start with 1. So P is initially 1. It checks if P is less than R. Yes, P is 1 and 1 less than 8 is true. It's true. So we get inside the loop. Inside the loop, we've done odd num is equal to P mod 2. So P is right now 1. P is right now 1. So odd num will be 1 mod 2. That would be 1 only because 1 is not divisible by 2. So if I divide it, we get the remainder as 1 itself. So 1 is the remainder. Now it checks if odd num is equal to 1. C is equal to C plus 1. Yes, odd num is 1. So when we write C is equal to C plus 1, C was 0 initially. C becomes 1. Okay, I hope you got it. So P was 1. When we divide 1 by 2, we get remainder as 1. And then in the code, they are checking if odd num is 1. Yes, it's true. So C is increased by 1. Then it goes to the increment part over here. Here it's written P is equal to P plus 3. So P was 1. When I add 3 to it, it becomes 4. And then it checks the condition. The condition is P less than R. That is 4 less than 8. Yes, it is true. It is true. So we get the odd num. When you get the value of odd num, this will be 4 mod 2, which is 0. Because 4 is divisible by 2, so remainder is 0. Then it checks this condition if odd num is equal to 1. No, it is not. So it doesn't execute this line and it goes to the increment part. And now it's increased by 3 again. So P becomes 7. 7 less than 8 is true. And this time odd num will be 1 because when we divide 7 by 2, we get a remainder as 1. So we get the remainder as 1 and odd num is equal to 1 is true. So C will be 1 plus 1. The previous value of C was 1. So 1 plus 1 makes it 2. Then we go to the increment part again. 7 plus 3 becomes 10. And when it comes to the condition, 10 less than 8 turns to be false. So as it becomes false, it will stop repeating and my loop is over. And they've asked you in the question, what is the value of C after the loop is over? So C is 2. So answer is C is 2. And you must show the working for the question because you have marks for working as well. So don't just peep into the answer somewhere and write that. It will not give you the marks. You have to explain the working and then finally you need to write the answer. So do it carefully. and write the answer at the end after showing the whole set of working. So that's for another 2 marks. Okay. Now the next question is again for 2 marks, and it is write the value that will be stored in the variable t after the execution of the following code, and you also need to tell how many times the loop execute. This is again kind of output question only. So we have int sum as 0, score as 0, and the loop is a do while loop, that is your exit controlled loop. So how do we start with it? Initially sum is 0, score is 0. So we go to do, and without checking any condition, it will just enter the loop because this is do while. For the first time, it will execute for sure. So it enters the loop, and the line is score is equal to score plus 1. So score is equal to score plus 1. The previous value of score was 0, plus 1 will make it 1. And the next statement is sum is equal to sum plus score. Sum was also 0, but the score has just changed to 1. So I'm going to add 1 into it, and the final value is 1. Now it checks while score less than equal to 3. Score is 1. 1 less than equal to 3 is true. So condition is true. We go up to do. We go up to do over here and enters the loop again. So here again score is equal to score plus 1. Score was 1. 1 plus 1 gives us 2. And then sum is equal to sum plus score. Previous value of sum was 1. Current value of score is 2 now, and the sum becomes 3. So it checks if 2, that is score, less than equal to 3. Yes, it's true. So we execute the same thing again. Score is increased by 1. So score becomes 3. Then we have to increase the sum. Sum was 3 in the last iteration, and the current value of score is 3. So sum plus score. So sum is 3 here, and score has just become 3. So 3 plus 3 gives me 6. And then we check the condition 3 less than equal to 3. Yes, it is true because it's equal. And then score will become 3 plus 1, 4. And when we come to this line, sum is equal to sum. The previous value of sum is 6. The current value of sum is 4. And the new value of sum becomes 10. And now when it checks 4 less than equal to 3, the condition is false. It won't be repeated further. It stops, and we come out of this. Now it's written t is equal to sum divided by 3. Now t is a double type of variable, but sum is an integer variable which has 10. So sum is 10. 10 upon 3 gives you 3.33 and all. But your answer will not be 3 point something, 3.33. Why? Because when you divide an integer by another integer, your answer is always an integer. And when it goes to a double variable, it will just put a dot 0 after that. So the answer will not be 3.33. The answer would be t is equal to 3.0, because it divides sum, that is 10, an integer value, by another integer value 3, which gives me 3. And when it goes to t, since t is of type double, the value becomes 3.0. So that's the output of your question number D. So that's for another 2 marks. Now the following code has errors. Rewrite the correct code underlining the corrections made. So this is one typical question which comes every time in the exam to find the errors. You have some code where you have at least 4 errors. You need to find them, underline them, and write the correct code. So in this, as we can see, the basic type of errors are like somewhere you'll have a semicolon missing, somewhere some bracket is missing, or sometimes the condition is not written properly. So let's see what errors are here. Int all small is fine. You have a semicolon after this, fine. Int I is equal to 15 semicolon is fine. Int flag is equal to 1 semicolon is fine. But if you check out this line, doesn't this thing looks like for, that we have an initialization, condition, and increment? But what they have written over here is while. In while we don't have these 3 things. In while we have only condition, but here 3 things are there, so it should not be while. So how are you going to attempt it in your paper? First write this wrong code, write this code as it is, and then underline this while thing to show that this is a mistake. Second thing is j is equal to 2. There should be a semicolon over here. So underline this part as well. Then if I mod j equal to 0, they have put single equal to here, whether there should be double equal to sign since we are checking a condition here. So here again it has to be underlined, this is an error, and then flag double equal to 0. When you're assigning 0 to flag, you can't put double equal to, there is no if with it. So double equal to is used only if you have an if over here. You don't have that, means I need to put the value of 0 in flag, so it should be a single equal to sign. So the 4 errors we have are this should be 4, then we should have a semicolon here, here it should be double equal to, and here we should have single equal to. Fine. So I'm going to write the correct code here, but before writing the correct code you need to underline the mistakes. So correct code is going to be almost the same code. So we have int j, int I is equal to 15, int flag is equal to 1, and then instead of while we should have for j is equal to 2 semicolon, which was not there, j less than I, j plus plus, and then inside this I should have if I mod j equal to 0 double equal to sign, and then here I should have flag single equal to 0, then break, then close the bracket and close this bracket. So if you miss the bracket, that you will be the one who's creating errors in this rather than removing them. So be careful about the brackets and all. So this is your correct code after removing the error. So usually when the question is for 2 marks, you would be having around 4 errors only. Fine. So that was your question number E of your question number 4 of the board exam. And then comes the last question. That is usually a GUI screen, graphical user interface, that comes from 5 to 6 marks. And here you have to write the Java code to solve this problem. Now let's see what question they have over here. So Miss Fauziya works as a programmer in Telltale Mobile Company, where she has designed a software to compute charges to be paid by the mobile phone user. A screenshot of the same is given here. We have a text field for name, we have a text field for mobile phone number, number of calls made, number of SMS sent, and there is a checkbox out here. 3 buttons are there, and there's again 3 set of text fields. Now each call is charged for 1 rupee, each SMS is charged for half a rupee. Users can also opt for mobile data plan. Charges for mobile data plan is flat 50 rupees. Help Miss Fauziya in writing the code to do the following. So here in this paper it's for 6 marks. The first question is, when the calculate charges button is clicked, calls and SMS charges, mobile plan charges and amount to pay should be calculated and displayed in the respective text field. Amount to pay is the sum of calls and SMS charge plus mobile data charges. So I hope you understood the question. We need to find the calls and SMS charge, mobile data plan charge, and amount to pay. So I don't have to do anything with the name and mobile phone number. What I have to read is number of calls made and number of SMS sent. So when I'm going to write the F parts, first part, what I need is I need integer variables because calls cannot be in points, and same way number of SMS can also not be in points. So this I take as integer, but the bill can be in points, so for that we take double. Now I have to take call charges, so take a meaningful variable for like bill for calls, bill call, then I take bill SMS, then mobile data MD, then amount to be paid. So I've taken this, and one I should take as total of call and SMS. So I've taken this. Now first of all, read the number of calls made. Since they have not mentioned the names of the text fields, so we assume them to be J text field 1, J text field 2 and all. So this is my text field 3, and it's an integer value which I have to read. So I need to write integer dot parse int, and what I'm going to write here is J text field 1 dot get text. And when you write this, make sure the text T is capital. It is case sensitive. J text field 1, T and F are capital, and in dot get text we have text T capital. Then similarly you have to read the value of SMS, so that would be integer dot parse int I capital in brackets che text field 2 dot get text. So I've read the values of this. So bill call. How much I have to pay for calls? 1 rupee per call. So that's 1 multiplied by number of calls. Then how much I have to pay for bill? SMS. So bill SMS is 0.5 multiplied by SMS. The total for this is going to be bill call plus bill SMS. So I've found the call and SMS charges. Now it is said that if the person needs the mobile data plan, he has to be charged 50 rupees for that. So the checkbox name could be, let's say, the J checkbox 1. We have a function called isSelected, which checks whether the checkbox is selected or not. So if J checkbox 1 is selected, what I have to do? I have to charge mobile data as 50. Else, if the checkbox is not selected, then mobile data should be 0. So I've found the mobile data price as well, and then we get the final amount. So final amount is the total for call and SMS plus mobile data. That's it. That's the total amount. Now we need to show these all 1, 2, 3, 4 in 5. So J text field 5 dot set text. Here I had to show the total charges for SMS and calls, and similarly you have to show for your mobile data plan and the final amount. So to show amount and have to show mobile data in the respective text fields, which are 6 and 7. So that's how we display the value. So once you write this code, you get 4 marks for this. So always take the variables required depending upon the type of value you need in them. Then read the values, write the formulas for the calculations, and then finally show the result in the text field. So 4 marks are yours. Then there are 2 marks called bonus marks for you. They are bonus because they are almost the same question every year you have. When the clear button is clicked, all text fields and checkboxes should be cleared. Now this button always have the same coding. You have to make all text fields blank. So we are just going to write this text field 1. As I've done for this, I have to do for all other. So I need to do it for 2, for 3, for 4, for 5, for 6, and for 7. So here I have the advantage of copying pasting, but in exam you need to write it all. So you don't have copy paste on the paper. Anyhow, I have to make these 7 text fields blank, and then I have to make my checkbox unselected. So for that you have to write checkbox 1 dot set selected and in bracket false. So it should be false, so that the tick mark in the checkbox should disappear if it was there. And then again, the simplest question you can be asked is the code for the exit button. Don't have to do anything in this. It's this fixed line and you need to write it as it is. System.exit in brackets 0 S capital. Make sure you write S capital, otherwise you might get just a half mark for this and you lose half for no reason. So be careful about the cases. So that's how we solve Java questions in your final board exams. As you see, the maximum questions are for outputs generally. So we solved all those output questions, and this one question you get for sure for 5 to 6 marks, which is a GUI based question where you have to check some conditions and find the result, clear the boxes, and exit the code. I hope you understood how to solve. In case of any doubts in the paper, do write in the comment section. I'll get back to you. And soon I'll be coming with the question paper of 2017 only, but Delhi board. Till then, keep watching, keep learning. Thank you.